But I hesitate because your idea is so damn simple.
Not to have been done before.
And I must confess, to my knowledge, no one has done it before. Dr. Banting.
There is no known cure. No way Elizabeth can survive.
Everyone who has diabetes, especially at my stage, dies.
Fred, I'm losing her.
Get the straps undone. Get the goddamn straps undone.
All right. No need to shout, for Christ's sake. I've never killed anything before.
Elizabeth, for God's sake, what are you doing? You taking leave of your senses? You stop that. You stop that, you hear? Stop it.
So we're just at the beginning. I mean, we couldn't use this on a human being. I mean, we have to get this stuff so pure, it would not blemish a baby's bottom.
Dr. Banting, I appreciate your enthusiasm, but it should be tempered with a little bit of objectivity, which you'll find will come with experience. For example, are you sure the reduction in blood sugar was not due to the dilution of the blood by the liquid extract you injected? And what of diurnal variation?
I don't know.
Well, you could start by measuring red corpuscles and hemoglobin to control this, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
I'd have thought you'd have known that best.
Yes, sir.
You have to realize your entire evidence is incomplete till the total utilization of blood sugar has been more carefully measured. Diligence, gentlemen, is the mother of good fortune.
Well, perhaps we could improve on our methods if, well, the lab facilities aren't the best. And the way we've had to work this summer, I mean, cleaning out the dog since May.
Dr. Banting.
I was wondering if you could see your way to some kind of salary. I mean, I'm in debt, and I have no way of borrowing.
Money does not grow on trees. You've already far exceeded the number of dogs we agreed on.
Professor McLeod, the work that Best and I are doing it's extremely important. Now, it holds great promise.
Your research is no more important than any other in this department.
I've given up everything I have in the world to do this research. I mean, I'm sorry, we have achieved something other than negative results. I mean, we have proved, as no one has before, ever, that blood sugar can be reduced. Yes, yes, you can pick holes, and they're justified. Yes, we were sloppy. But I know that we are on the right track. Do you think I like living like an impoverished hermit? And what I want to know is, what does the University of Toronto feel about my research? I mean, do they believe in it, or do they give diddly squat? Do they think it's important?
As far as you're concerned, laddie, I am the University of Toronto.
I see. Well, then, unless, within 24 hours, you agree to provide new facilities, I shall have to take my idea elsewhere.
And Dr. Banting, I suggest you do. And where do you think you'll go?
The Mayo Brothers,
An advertising institution.
the Rockefeller Institute.
They've finished with diabetic research when they forced Frederick Allen to leave.
Professor McLeod, you told us as scientists we should leave no stone unturned. Well, I am taking your advice, either here or at an institution with vision. Let me know your final decision in the morning.
Are you crazy?
Probably.
No one has ever spoken to McLeod
Charlie?
like that. In 30 seconds,
Charlie
you've
boy,
ruined
I
everything.
don't know how, but I am going to show that patronizing, short-ass son of a bitch that he's not the University of Toronto. Mark my words.
He dared to make an ultimatum in front of Best.
And why didn't you dismiss him in front of Bess?
Because he's not on staff to be dismissed. The man doesn't realize he's working with some of the best and most up-to-date facilities in the world. In Paris or London, they'd give a lot to have what we have.
Perhaps a nap.
I don't want a nap. I want some lunch.
Are the experiments important? What I meant was, is the work going anywhere?
Well, I had a good summer, considering that experience. It was a pooling of ignorance.
Would you work under the same conditions?
I'm head of the department, for God's sake.
Which translates as no. And work for nothing.
Grace, I did the man a favor. He came to me.
But as head of the department, you should be able to weasel some money from somewhere.
He won't be back.
Before Dr. Banting goes to America and...
Subject closed. You know, I keep thinking about von Behring, the German who discovered diphtheria and tetanus immunization. He got very erratic results at first, all over the place. Then a chap named Ehrlich came along and standardized the vaccine. Supposing von Behring had been kicked out of the Koch Institute.
September 3rd, 1922. The Beaches, Southampton, New York. Dear Mr. and Mrs. Hughes, I am returning Elizabeth's letters to Melanie, together with our devastating news that Melanie passed away peacefully on Thursday. I know you share the same sorrows that my husband and myself.
Oh, this dinner will be the death of me. I do hope Admiral Cato will like precious rice. I don't believe it's reached Japan yet.
Why do you think Melanie hasn't replied to my letters?
Melanie? Well, I don't know. Perhaps they didn't forward them. But with all that traveling, they never catch up with it.
If I had died yesterday, I'd be in a casket.
Those are terrible, macabre thoughts.
Being prepared. Nothing would have changed. And you would have been calling Catherine home, choosing a dress for me to be buried in.
Stop it.
I'm going to die, aren't I? That's what Melanie's mother said. And Melanie's dead. And you didn't tell me that either. I suppose you'll put a memorial window in the clinic chapel, or a plaque, safe in the arms of Jesus.
Oh, Elizabeth.
At my stage, there is no hope. Why didn't you tell me?
Please.
Always tell the truth, you said.
Well, it was the best thing, we thought. It was the best thing.
Say
and
it.
Elizabeth,
Say it.
one always hopes and prays.
Say it! There is no hope!
There is no hope. You are going to die.
Well, I'm not going to die. I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna beat it, that's what. You wait and see. You wait and see.
Well, it's very generous. I just don't know what to say.
You could try to thank you.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you. I mean, that goes without saying. I was wondering, Professor McLeod, if you would consider joining us formally in the research to be part of the...
Oh, no. You should complete the work before others join you. But I see no reason why you shouldn't share some of your results to date with your colleagues at the Physiological Journal Club. I have a meeting in November. Perhaps you and Best would like to present a paper. Well, think about it.
Well, ain't that the cat's meow?
I hope you're better at public speaking than I am, because it's going to be you up on that podium.
Now, many of you will not have met Dr. Banting before. He'll be telling you about, describing to you some pretty interesting results, showing that intravenous doses of the new extract seem to work with spectacular results. A total of 60 cc's was administered, which had the effect of lowering the dog's blood sugar from 0.30 to 0.07 in less than 3 hours. There was another interesting test involving the subcutaneous injection of the new extract. 5 of them, in fact, at hourly intervals. Dr. Banting will place them in time for us, no doubt. Now, during which it was found that blood sugar did not change. Now, whether or not this is seen as positive for the line of investigation depends upon how you look upon the whole business.
Anything left for poor Banting to say?
And leave the floor to my colleagues, Mr. Charles Best and Dr. F.G. Banting, who will elaborate on his work over this past summer. Dr. Banting.
Looks like Professor McLeod is covered. There's nothing really left for me to say.
Well, I must admit my enthusiasm sometimes carries me away. Let's adjourn, shall we, and talk informally.
Did you hear that? We. Well, what's he ever contributed? Dick all. What?
I didn't hear him say we.
Where was he when it was 100 degrees, huh? flies are crawling all over the incisions, and the place is reeking with piss, dog shit. Fishing for goddamn salmon in Scotland. That's what.
Well, in this crowd, you do best to keep your feelings to yourself.
It tells me, Charlie, our results are very positive. And what McLeod and all these sycophants can positively smell.
Immortality?
Be famous forever.
Take heart there, boy. Take heart. Look at it this way. You brought out the big guns.
Did?
How about Colonel Goodrum over there, the one with the rose in his lapel? The real power behind the University Board of Governors. Next to him, you might know Duncan Graham, Major Domo of the Toronto General Hospital establishment. Only God carries more weight around the wards, and next to him, I don't know who it is.
Banting.
I think he wants us to kiss his ring.
Two people I'd like you to meet. Professor Grimm, Dr. Banting.
Professor Grimm?
Interesting project, Banting.
And this is Professor Collop, who's here on a sabbatical from Saskatchewan.
Alberta, sir. University of Alberta.
Oh, yeah. Professor Collop is an expert on glandular secretions and making tissue extracts.
I was impressed with your results, Dr. Banting. Yes, very impressed. Yes, I'd be interested in helping out if I could, perhaps with the refining of extract.
Yeah, well...
Oh, yes, and there's one other. Dr. Taylor. He has an interesting idea for you.
Dr. Taylor will do a longevity test. Sure, we'll see how long we can prolong a diabetic dog's life using regular extract doses. And then McLeod has the nerve to say, we should start immediately, Dr. Banting. Well, I wonder if we has considered how long we have to wait for the pancreas to atrophy, and has we thought of how many dogs it will take to keep one diabetic mutt alive for even a month?
You know what he always says. Good scientists work to get blood from a stone.
You can be sure he's written a paper on that, too. And no doubt presented it at the Royal Pissological Society, Timbuktu.
I think we'll keep her here a few days to keep an eye on her, though. It is a little bit of a setback. Her weight being down to 55 pounds disturbs me. The thing is, the onset of winter begins a period of great risk. Elizabeth has no resistance to winter ailments, especially respiratory. Her circulation could become impaired and could lead to gangrene. You must send her to a warmer climate until spring.
Mr. Hughes has the disarmament conference.
Bermuda would be ideal. From here on in, she'll need every assist she can get.
Oh, God.
It's longevity, Mac. I want to call her Marjorie.
Marjorie?
I had a goldfish named Marjorie.
Huh?
Cat ate it.
Oh.
Who is that?
Oh, it's Collop. James Collop. You remember McLeod introduced us. He seems like quite a nice chap. No, don't encourage him. I don't want to buy him much.
I hear the longevity test is going splendidly.
18 days.
Well, yes, very exciting. You chaps should read the latest papers of Pelasco, the Romanian.
I found his results.
Yes, interesting stuff. I really hope I can be of some assistance. Getting the impurities out of the extract, that's the tricky part. Yes, has to be as pure for human test. I mean, that is what you're shooting for, right?
Yes, yes, of course.
Splendid. Thank you.
Beef's good.
I'll have the roast beef. Rare.
I'll be fine, fine. I can collect shells and think of all the new birds I can add to my list. I never did like snow anyway.
Now, just as soon as I can
The
get...
conference is important. For peace in the world, right?
Right.
No tears. I promised myself no tears. I'm envious. Sunny beaches, tea with the Governor General. But there's no escaping me. I'm coming down in January. Winter in New York is more than I can stand.
I'm really proud. Your understanding...
I'd go to Siberia if it would help me get well. Father needs you here. I'm the one who should be proud of.
I'll pray every day. Right? Think of you.
Well, I suppose we'd better.
Blanche is waiting outside.
Right.
Bye, Phoebe. Bye-bye, dear.
And now, Mr. Secretary, we have to get you packed, ready for Paris.
Oh, I'm sorry to keep you waiting, my love. Meeting with Duncan Graham. You fell in love with his...
Professor McLeod's office? I think he just left for the day. Could you wait one moment and I'll see if I can catch him? All the way from Boston, Massachusetts, Dr. Elliot Jocelyn.
He's one of the top diabetic men in America. Put him through. Hello, Dr. Jocelyn. Yeah, Gigi McLeod. This is indeed an unexpected pleasure. Oh, well. Yes, it's true we have been doing some work on the influence of pancreatic extracts, but the research is still very much in the embryonic stage. Or to publish, you see, well, it's a wee bit premature for that. Yes. We've a lot to do to refine our results. Oh, Nicholas Paulesco, you mean? No, well, my colleagues here, Dr. Banting and Mr. Best, found his results a little unimpressive. Oh, a clinical test. Oh, we're a long way from using it on a human being. But I was thinking of having my colleagues present a paper on, at the New Haven meeting after Christmas. At full speed? Well, you could say that. Yes. Yes, we're working at full speed. Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah. At New Haven, I will talk more then. Goodbye. Miss Grange, I want you to go down to Dr. Banting's lab. Ask him if I can see all his notes up to date, and can we meet tomorrow?
Changing your mind about Dr. Banting and his work?
Perhaps. I like to think that I can put aside my own prejudice for the good of the cause, and I recognize Banting's gift of instinct. Unorthodox though it may be, it does seem to lead him to things that a more regimented brain like my own might never even consider. And I recognize his rebelliousness, his passion to succeed. That at least we share. Doesn't mean to say I have to like the man.
Yale! Oh, I imagine that. It impressed the hell out of Edith. Oh, and Cullop. McLeod's agreed with me. With all the biochem and extract work, it's time for Jimmy Cullop to come on board. But do you know who is going to be there at Yale? Allen, Jocelyn, Kleiner. I mean, they are the Tinker, Evers, and Chance of diabetology. You okay? All right. What's wrong?
Nothing.
What did I do? What did I say?
Forget it.
Sure, you're the big boy. Have it your way.
What about him? You want Collip to come in and steal all the glory? I'm obviously not a good enough biochemist for you. I'm certainly not a PhD.
Charlie, we've got to be honest here. Look, I'm not even sure if we know how to do it. I've got something to show you. Sweet smell, like rotten apples. That's the final stage. Ketonemia, the acetone in the breath. See, the whole body weakens, succumbs to all kinds of infections, boils, carbuncles, gangrenes, and you can't operate because of the diabetes. So it's 50-50 what kills them first. Gasping. See, that means that near the end, it's air hunger, it's internal suffocation, coma, and then death. See, there is no escape from here, Charlie. Your odds were better in the trenches. You see, this is why we need Collip, Cloud, everybody. And you and me, Charlie, we can't do it all. There'll be enough glory for all of us if we can get it right.
We have been transmitting our first wireless radio broadcast of Christmas music from the broadcasting studio of CFCF in Montreal. We wish our listeners in Canada and the United States a Merry Christmas. This is Max Smith speaking. Good night.
Sweetheart, you're up. Is the baby all right? What's the matter?
Huh?
It's not true.
I just wanted you home. I want us to be home. In Alberta, Edmonton. It's Christmas and I'm homesick.
Christmas?
And the thought of spending Christmas in Toronto, in snotty old Hogtown, and you going away right after.
Just for a few days.
But you're never here. Listening to the baby cry, and washing diapers, and staring at the walls.
I think I might be on to something quite interesting that should impress McLeod and Banting.
It's like a prison.
Didn't you go to Mrs. McLeod's faculty ladies' tea?
Yes. I was the poor relation. The young professor's wife from Alberta. They were so damned patronizing.
May. We'll be home in May. Walks along the Saskatchewan. Summer at your parents'. Cheering the Eskimos.
Do you have to go to New Haven?
Sweetheart, after New Haven, the world's top diabetologists might be talking about this work. I simply can't afford to miss it.
Since the extract, which we have administered over 75 times, has always produced a reduction in the percentage of the blood sugar and the sugar excreted in the urine, we feel justified in stating that the extract contains the internal secretion of the pancreas.
Dr. Banting, Israel Kleiner, with respect, I find it hard to accept that your extract always lowered the percentage of blood sugar.
As I was saying, I meant.
Get it out, lad. Get it out.
In the statement, as over the was that over the 75 doses?
I think it's important, if I may interject, gentlemen, to lay stress upon the frequency of direct relationship between the injection and the subsequent drop in blood sugar level. As just this past week, Mr. Collop had great success in obtaining irrefutable results, showing that the extract enabled a diabetic animal's liver to form glycogen. Now, as you all know, an untreated diabetic liver contains about 0.5% at most. Professor Collop's treated dog had 25.6%.
Let's face it, I struck out.
You weren't that bad.
Not enough to overcome Collop's kick in the slats.
What kick?
What kick? Glory of glycogen.
Well, he couldn't have done it without your extract. Have you thought of that?
I should have handled my own questions. McLeod took over again.
It's normal, you know, to ask questions of the senior-most person on the train. Team. And last time I looked, that was JC. JJ himself. JJR, in fact. John James Rickert. Now, what mother would name their child Rickert?
Rickert.
And here's Collop. James Bertram Collop. Now, he had a sensible mother, don't you think?
I came to apologize about the glycogen. Yes, I didn't know McLeod was...
Sure. All that time you just didn't know.
I shall retire to my berth. Fred, where's my berth?
Look, I tried to reach you all Christmas Eve, but you'd already left.
We'll
and so
retire.
had Best. Nobody had a telephone number for you.
No
then
one
my
in
wife,
Toronto.
God rest
Jessie.
to all that keep the jungle law. Kipling, Rudyard Kipling. My nanny used to
If
read
you're going to
Kipling.
sleep, for God's sake, go!
Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Hollinger. Elizabeth Hollinger. My nanny.
Look, Banting, if you expect me to grovel, forget it. I won't. I'll say just this.
Oh.
I find the work very exciting. Yes, it has great potential. But we're a team. There isn't one single scientific achievement in history that was realized by one person. This will take all of us working together, shoulder to shoulder as one, in harmony.
Rah, rah, rah.
I've never known anyone in my life as determined.
It's all she's got, determination. She so looks forward to the mail boat.
Six. 5 for me and 1 for you, Kat. Who's yours from? I've no idea. Blanche is waiting for us. I walked up at least 100 calories. Open it. Are you simply curious to know who it's from? We should get change for lunch. You have a secret admirer. Oh, what's his name? Your imagination is far too active. You have a bow, right? My darling Catherine, I miss you so much. And I am counting the days until I can gaze into your limpid eyes and brush your ruby lips with my own.
Have you done much painting?
A little. I'm going through my Degas period.
I saw an exhibition of Mary Cassatt's in New York. She has a wonderful sense of color.
They'll say that about me one day.
Yes, they will.
Kath, you can tell me about your bow. I want to share things, not have them kept from me. It's worse that way because... well, because... I bet he's tall and handsome as a prince. Chances are I won't be able to make your wedding. Dr. Allen will probably make me rest or some foolish thing, but it'll be fun hearing about all the plans. I've been trying to guess his name. Don't tell me. James? Franklin? Robert? Theodore?
Chauncey.
Oh, that's nice.
Chauncey Waddell.
I bet Mother and Father are thrilled to bits.
Yes. Yes, they are.
What kind of boy would get betrothed and not give a ring?
I'll get it.
You're a wonder, sweet pea.
Is he in?
I beg your pardon?
Is he in?
Well, he was.
Before you say a word,
I've just come from seeing...
Duncan Graham, he telephoned to warn me.
He had the gall to say, because I'm not currently a practicing surgeon, when the time comes for the big test...
You're not qualified to treat patients clinically.
Well, this is an injection, for God's sake. This is not surgery on the brain.
I admit it. It drives me crazy at times, but Professor Graham makes the rules for his department. Now, I don't agree with many of them, but I can tell you, it'll not change his mind. You have not treated diabetics. And as far as Graham's concerned, that's... Look, Banting! Think beyond the mechanics. Look to the higher purpose. How the extract gets into the system doesn't matter one whit. It's what it does afterwards that counts. Now, who cares? Who inserts the needle?
Well, I can pretty well guarantee that Best will have some purified extract by next week.
I had a call-up.
After 8 months of non-stop work, we are this far from a human test. So I think you'll understand how we feel when we say we'd like the test to be our extract, and Best's and mine. I don't care who injects it, as long as...
Yes, well, that's a reasonable request. In a week, you say. And you don't mind if Dr. Campbell administers it.
Hail the Empire! Hail the Empire!
Dr. Campbell? Good morning, thank you, Ben. Dr. Graham would prefer if you remained off the ward.
Oh, wonder which one's Leonard Thompson. They say he's 2 weeks left, at the most. So, we wait.
Banting?
Graham.
So how's it going? You know, I'm surprised that you're not chomping at the bit by now.
Noble, I'm trying to work.
I would have thought you'd have been supervising the test today.
No. What test?
The test, the first extract used on a human being? Banting and Best?
They're doing what?
Over at the General. Campbell's officiating.
No word.
You wonder how those poor wee birds survive this cold. Minus 25's not fit for man, the beast.
Banting. Dr. Campbell. Yeah. Go ahead. Uh-huh. The blood sugar first. Yep. I've got that. And the glucose? It what? Oh, I see. All right. Blood sugars and the glucose only down marginally. Ketone is still positive. Campbell also said not to feel too bad. At least it didn't kill him.
More experiments, Dr. Banting?
I went against my better instincts. Got caught up in Banting's situation. I was wrong.
The question the board will be asking itself is this a pipe dream running out of control? And if so, at what point do we cancel the project?
What you mean, Duncan, is when will I decide? When research in my department has ceased to be of further value. But it was a setback, Duncan, nothing more. I firmly believe that Collett will eventually isolate the active principle and make a truly effective extract.
I've done it. I've done it. I've done it.
done it. Yes. I've done it. Well, I've done it.
Done what?
Trapped it. The active principle. It's as pure as hell.
Congratulations. God, must have been an incredible moment.
It was. Yes, it appeared right in front of my eyes.
Finally.
Tea. Well, some tea to celebrate.
Now we can try another clinical test. We can decide what the best way is to make this stuff in quantity. Jesus, Philip! God, that's fantastic.
We're about to discover what busy really is. We're going to be working our little asses off to the bone like you wouldn't believe. So, how did you reach the magic moment? Don't spare the details.
Huh?
How did you...
I don't think I can tell you. No.
Sorry, what did you say?
Why should I tell you anything? I mean, did you tell me about the Thompson test? No, sir, not a thing. You see? Co-conspirators. Why do you want to know? It's my job to purify the extract, my responsibility. But you want to use my methods on your own extract. Take credit for my work, right? Claim it as your own. I mean, your extract hasn't exactly been effective.
Don't push your luck, Collip. That's a pretty paranoid attitude.
Paranoid! That man created the word. Don't you push your luck, Best. Why, I could go back to Alberta at any time, take out a patent in my own name. Yes. Then what would you do?
Huh? You son of a bitch! Fred, I should have known better than to trust anyone from some piss-pot cowboy university.
You're a damn madman, Banting. You really do believe I do that kind of thing, don't? Because of your puerile attitude, the way your jealous little mind works. Because you know nothing about science. That sharing is at the heart of it, the very essence. Another thing. The clinical test you mentioned, it's already been done. On Leonard Thompson. Yes. His glycosuria has almost disappeared. His ketonuria has disappeared. His blood sugar level down from 0.52 to 0.12. Close to normal, wouldn't you say? Yes.
Someone who should be looking like the cat who swallowed the proverbial canary. Night of celebration, was it?
No, just the realization that you can't beat a system that's trying to exclude you. They're stealing. They want to steal my knowledge and my work. And it's all McLeod's fault. You saw what happened at the Journal Club meeting. You were there.
Done that business at Yale, and now call up tests using my discovery that I'm not told about. Ethics. That's a word that doesn't exist in McLeod's vocabulary. And you know, in the first injection with Leonard Thompson, it was officially recorded
as McLeod's serum.
For God's sake, Banting, the first law of survival at a university is to keep one's mouth shut in washrooms. It was?
It's well after midnight. Everyone's been working too hard.
Don't make excuses for him. The man's emotional instability is a very destructive force. All I wanted to do was pursue the work. Grace, it has enormous possibilities.
You could have shared the results with Banting. He was the one who came to you.
I wasn't even conscious of excluding him. Well, maybe I didn't want to be embarrassed again. Once bitten. But to steal another man's work, I can never forgive him for saying that.
So what do you think? Charlie, what do you think?
I thought Fred suffered from the occasional...
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I need one for the Easter parade. Something somber for Ash Wednesday.
And this for Pete's sake. At the Yale conference, we were able to report results. It's like Fred and I had nothing to do with it. I mean, Marjorie survived for 70 days before we finally had to put her down. Without our work, our extract column would have...
Charles. Ascension?
No. Thank you.
I'm not disturbing you, am I?
No.
In view of the fact that this work is now public knowledge, I was thinking that perhaps we should prepare... You're all right, aren't you?
Yes. Yes. Some days are like the tide. Flow of good results and then the ebb. Right now we're at the ebb.
You could use a good night's sleep. Even God scheduled a day off.
I don't know how you get so many colds.
I never got colds in Alberta.
All right. Patience. Do you realize what time it is? Now, you're talking nonsense, laddie. You're too distraught to be able to think clearly. Now, look, I suggest you just calm down, get a good night's sleep, and in the morning go over your notes. I see. Well, one supposes that in the light of day you'll... All right. I'll come over as soon as I can.
James?
Collop has lost the ability to purify the extract. It seems the star of my firmament did not keep adequate notes.
Fred?
What? Oh, God, what the hell? Oh, close the goddamn window, for Christ's sake. I'm gonna die of pneumonia.
Close it yourself.
All right. You know what, Shirley? I'm gonna go back to being a GP up in the Arctic. I'm gonna go where I'm appreciated. I'm gonna get me a wifey. God, I'm thirsty. I'm going to go and get a wife. And someone I can talk to. Like you, huh? I mean, you've got Margaret. Yeah, where are my cigarettes? You see, I'm through with pancreases and all those harebrained pancreases. And I'm going to heal the sick and the infirm and all that crap.
Collop lost the neck.
You've gone to the knackery, I hope.
Can't remember how to purify the extract.
He's about due to ride back to cowboy country anyway. You can't what?
Remember. He forgot to take notes.
Collop?
The great biochemist broke the cardinal rule, MacLeod's first commandment.
No, it's a plot. Tomorrow, the next day, he will remember, and then he will be the hero again. MacLeod, Collop, they felt the brass ring, laddie. They're not gonna let that slip. You can count on that. So, let them have it.
Well, thank you. And what about me? You walk away now and I'm left on my own. But you don't give a damn, do you? Leonard Thompson's gone home to die because there's no more extract. Do you care? As for loyalty, you don't even know the meaning of the word. You're pitiful. You're a damn pitiful quitter.
Dearest Mumsy, I couldn't wait to write today's letter. Guess where I've just come back from? How would you know? We were invited to Government House to watch the tent pegging.
And afterwards, the Governor General showed me all their things from his days in India. And now that the Clintons have gone back to England, we can pick flowers from their garden. Today we got gorgeous zinnias. And on the beach today, I collected some marvelous new shells. Blanche is going to show me how to frame a mirror with them.
Dear Mrs. Hughes, I'm sure Elizabeth has told you that the diarrhea has been checked and she is looking much, much better. But that is not true, I'm afraid. This week she has shown very little improvement. For several days she was extremely weak.
They play a game called cricket here. It's similar to baseball, but it's much slower. And they're always stopping to have lunch or tea. One thing they don't do is burn up many calories.
She has so little reserve strength. I enclosed Dr. Allen's letter. He has recommended a 57-calorie increase in her protein and fat to 833 calories a day to give her more strength. I sense Elizabeth is dying.
Nettie,
that
Nettie.
Whatever happens inside the body to the organs that precipitates death is happening to Elizabeth.
Then we should bring her home, Nettie. If she is dying, she must be with us.
Hey, sure. Frederick, Grant, Banting, at your service.
May I?
Oh, yes, please have a seat.
My dear boy, the Jungle Telegraph tells me the race is on. And the betting is there'll be a purified stable extract within a month. The question is, who's going to do it first? Collop or Best?
Well, that's a bit soon, perhaps.
Anyway, it's not going to make much difference to me. Graham and his gang are determined to keep me out of hospital.
So, you outflank them. Go back into private practice here in Toronto to treat diabetics. After all, they wouldn't dare deny the man who discovered the extract access to it. Now I hear the Christie Street Military Hospital is opening up a new diabetic clinic. I'll be looking for someone to head it up. Well, think about it. I mean, what good would their clinic be if they can't get their hands on the extract? And then when Goodrum and the rest of the board hear about it, how's it going to look? The man who discovered the extract, not good enough to work in the hospital where it was first tested. Mark my words, you'll be back at the General.
Wouldn't that be sweet? Seeing them all line up to kiss my ass.
Handle things right, and the world will be your oyster. And Banting, for God's sake, do buy yourself a new suit. Ah, JJ. I was just telling Banting here, it's damn well about time you all came up with a name for this miracle. I mean, did Hoffman go around calling aspirin the powder all the time?
Best and I did think of Iceland. Iceland.
Iceland? Surely not. Iceland? In Spanish? In German?
It would be good to have a name to give to the world. You might consider something based on the Latin root for isle. Well, the Latin root for the word isle is insula. You might consider insulin?
Yes. I like it. Yes, it sounds as though it belongs. Yes. Insulin.
Culp, how's it going?
Oh, not bad, I suppose. You know how it is.
Too well.
Yes, saw your results from last week. Pretty discouraging.
Well, if at first you don't succeed?
Absolutely. You'd think recapturing it would be easy, especially for me. I mean, I saw it. I held it in my hands. How about this week with a prototype? Any closer?
No. No. It's a maze. Every time I think I found a way out.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Well, back to work. Shoulders to the grindstone.
Wheel.
Yes.
You have to prepare yourselves. You must appreciate you've had Elizabeth far longer than I ever dared to hope. And this must be great comfort to you. Made that time together more valuable, more meaningful. But even the incredible fortitude, no, inner strength, deep, hidden inner strength that she's been able to tap, not even that can last forever.
How long?
Confined to bed. 2 months at the most. Possibly even weeks.
Hello?
Come in.
Dr. Banting, I presume?
Very well. So, what do you think?
It's not the Ritz. I brought you a little office order present.
You shouldn't.
No, it's nothing. Will you open the damn thing?
Oh, yes. What, you want me to make a speech?
You? Please.
Damn reading release. So I thought I'd take it in hand.
It came together last night. We trapped it, as Collop would say. And what you hold in your hand is pure, lovingly created insulin. It's yours, Fred. It belongs to you. Oh, my sweated blood. But without your idea, I'd just be another med student in his final year.
Guys, it's not even 4 o'clock. Best? Well, the important thing is that it's purified again.
Yes.
You were the first
But I
one.
dropped it in the end zone.
You always say it's about sharing, about working together.
Just this once.
It was an announcement, a progress report to the medical profession. It will be months, even years, before they can produce enough insulin to supply all those who need it. Besides, they don't know if it is a cure. Its effects may only be temporary. Some people have been known to react violently.
Well, then why do they publish things like this? Tell me. Raising false hopes? Elizabeth has only weeks.
What we have to do is thank God that the discovery has been made. That in our time we might see one of the greatest achievements in modern medicine.
Might? I thought it was a fact. The New York
Mrs.
Times
Hughes,
is reliable.
thousands will die before insulin becomes a reality. That's the sad truth.
Dr. Allen, I cannot sit and do nothing, knowing there is, as I see it, a miracle some 500-600 miles from here. And if I ignore what I know, I could never live with myself again. That's not easy to do anyway.
Every one of my patients is dying. They have dying patients in Toronto. Elizabeth, with respect, is not alone. Someone, Mrs. Hughes, will have to decide who doesn't get insulin.
Who do you suggest I see in Toronto?
I beg your pardon.
This Professor McLeod, this Dr. Banting, this Professor...
Oh, Banting. I would suggest Dr. Banting. He's the one behind it. I'm sure he's already inundated. I will write a letter of introduction for you, but promise nothing.
So that means we're going to have to start tomorrow at about 8. Well, we'll just go right through. Hardeth, I'm going to grab a bite to eat, and I'm going to go to Christie Street.
Excuse me, Dr. Banting?
Oh, yes. Well, we're closed for the day.
I'm Mrs. Hughes.
Yes, yes. Well, the nurse will take your name.
I've written you several times.
Oh, of course. Hughes. It's from Ottawa.
From Washington. And more recently, Morristown, New Jersey. My daughter, Elizabeth...
Frederick Allen's clinic. Right. What are you doing here?
I came to appeal to you.
Mrs. Hughes, as I tried to explain in my letters, it's very difficult. Insulin supplies are erratic. We're having trouble making them in any kind of quantity. We don't know if it really works. It's just too early.
It offers extra time.
Every day I have to turn some people away. 2 hours ago, in fact, there was a lineup, 2 and 3 people abreast. So how can I, in all conscience, leapfrog your daughter ahead of those? When I came in yesterday morning, there were half a dozen people waiting. One woman had walked for more than an hour.
Elizabeth can't walk 300 feet. She's down to 789 calories a day and has trouble standing. She has been clinging to life, Dr. Banting, for 3 years. Normally, meeting people is not difficult for me. But you're different. You have the one thing in life that I want. Quite honestly, this is the most important meeting of my entire life.
What you must understand.
Please let me
is-
finish. I rehearsed this over and over. It was much better on the train. This coming here, this appealing to you, is the one thing I have left to offer her.
Look at Mrs. Hughes. Even if I had the insulin, you know what people would say. I accepted your daughter because of your husband's position. That an innocent child was denied.
Elizabeth is as much a human being. Here, listen to this. This is a letter she wrote to me. She was in Bermuda. She wrote every day. Here, I do so look forward to coming back here next year. Dr. Allen says she has only weeks left. But I think I'll have to have one of those radio telephones so I can hear your voice. No, I wasn't with her.
Mrs. Hughes, I didn't...
I'm sorry. Last night, Blanche and I, that's her nurse, Blanche and I watched Mars come up. It's the nearest it will be to the Earth until 1924. We'll be able to watch it together then. And she talks of getting a small traveling typewriter. Authors always have one, and I should learn how to manage it correctly. And she asks me to renew her subscription to American Girl for another year. Do you have children, Dr. Banting?
No.
No, well, when you do, if you're like me, you will find yourself wondering, as they get older, if you've done all you could for them. I've not done all I could for Elizabeth. I helped give her this life. Now I have the chance to help her be reborn. How many mothers have that opportunity? All right. All right, Elizabeth has been privileged, as I have. And I have never had to fight for anything in my entire life, and I didn't think I could do it. I don't know if you have ever had to fight for something you deeply believe in, but each setback just makes one fight harder. I mean, use any tactic. Make people realize, oh, I'm very new at this. It's not easy. But I have to know when I walk out of here whether Elizabeth will live or die.
Subcutaneous tissues are almost completely absorbed. What's her weight again?
45 pounds.
Right, I'll take a small control sample.
Elizabeth, we're going to try to make you a whole lot better. So, I'm going to take a small sample of blood so I can have something to refer to when you start to make fantastic progress. Elizabeth, I'm going to give you 1 cc of insulin twice a day, starting today, to relieve the sugar in the urine. It'll sting a little. I'm sure you won't mind.
Every time I think of that man, I'm consumed by anger. I realized in Washington, when all the delegates and the newspaper people surrounded me and asked, how did it all come about? And I said those words. It all began with Dr. Banting coming to me with an idea. I realized this was to be my cross. It all began with Banting. I've tried to reason with myself. I'm an intelligent man, acknowledge that insulin is the greatest thing to have happened to me professionally. But I feel it's tainted. When I should feel a sense of accomplishment, all I feel is resentment, jealousy. All I can see is that man in his new car and the world hailing him as if he was some kind of a messiah. You know his nomination for a Nobel is a certainty.
James, please, you cannot change what's happened. Years from now.
Oh, years from now, years from now. Now, when I was a student, I used to think, years from now, perhaps they'll be saying MacLeod, as they say Pasteur.
I do not want to go back to the city to be Fred's eternal appendage.
Well, at least I'm learning about your moods before our marriage.
That's one way I can be sure to get my name in the paper.
Oh, come on, Charlie. You know, you're sounding more like Fred every day.
I'm sorry. This whole thing is passing me by. Damn it, I contributed a lot to this. You'd never know it.
Fred always acknowledges
No.
you.
Not always. When he remembers. Could have been Clark Noble.
Who?
This way, it's right to the top, right?
Well, I suppose we'll see when I get there.
This way, gentlemen. Back, top. Hang on. This way. Gentlemen, I would like you to meet the most rewarding patient in the world, Miss Elizabeth Hughes. Elizabeth, I would like you to meet Dr. Jeffrey, Dr. Kleiner, Dr. Campbell, Dr. Taylor, Dr. Jocelyn, Mr. Best, Dr. MacLeod, and Dr. Allen. Someone who has been waiting for this moment.
It's remarkable. Truly remarkable. I have never seen anybody with diabetes look so well. It's incredible. The last time I saw her, she was just about the weight of her bones and soul. Thank you. Thank you. I would have never have known you. It's been a resurrection.
Fred Banting?
Ah, there you are. Hard person to reach, my boy. Well, tell me, will you still be speaking to your old friends?
Valian, I will always have time for you. Just got back from Alliston. Peace, tranquility, even time to paint. What can I do for you?
Well, the paper, dear boy. The paper. You've read it, haven't you?
Oh, no, the weekly stage doesn't get into Alliston until Wednesdays.
I don't believe it. Dear boy, you have done it. The big one. The prize. The Nobel Prize.
Come on.
The truth is I live and breathe. For physiology and medicine, Ewan MacLeod, page 1 of the Globe. Bandy, you still there?
I don't believe it. McLeod? Not Best?
Well, sadly, they don't mention him. It's just Ewan MacLeod.
Don't do anything more to discredit a remarkable achievement. Fred!
Where is he?
He was in England.
Went due back last Friday.
His boat was delayed.
Best. Where's Best?
Harvard, giving an address to medical students for Dr. Jocelyn.
I don't believe it. What did MacLeod do to deserve that goddamn...
Do not spend the rest of your life trying to correct every wrongdoing inflicted on this world.
What did that man do to deserve the goddamn Nobel Prize? You tell me. You name one experiment he contributed. Tell me, how many hours did he spend in the lab? And tell me, where was he during that long, stinking summer of 21?
It's out of our hands. Fred Banting, you have achieved something that will be part of the fabric of this country. Our first ever Nobel Prize. Now, congratulations. I mean, savor it. They cannot take it away from you.
You have to be in Stockholm in 11 days. There's a boat leaving the day after tomorrow.
First, I have a prior commitment in New York. Second, I'm not going to Stockholm. Not this week, next week, or any other week.
My dear boy, this is the Nobel Prize we are speaking of.
They can shove it up their...
Grow up! I'm sorry. I do understand, but damn it, you've got to learn to rise above these things. In years to come, when people ask me about today, I want to be able to say that you were a very
I
proud...
won't accept this prize. I have to live with myself. I have to be able to look myself in the eye. More importantly, I have to be able to look Charlie Best in the eye. I'm simply not going to Stockholm.
Please, Fred. Please think about what I've said. Think about your responsibilities as a scientist.
Fred, what are we going to do with all the people out there? They're like a pack of wolves, and the phone keeps ringing.
A minute, would you send a telegram for me, please?
Of course.
To Dr. Elliot Jocelyn, Harvard University, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Stop. At any meeting or dinner, please read the following. Stop.
I ascribe equal share in the discovery to Charles Best. Stop. I'm hurt that he is not so acknowledged by Nobel trustees. Stop. Will share with him. Stop. Signed, Banting.
Professor McLeod, congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you care to comment on the statement by Dr. Banting?
I've no doubt that every statement Dr. Banting makes is accurate in every particular. Now, I have a short statement to make. It would be invidious and quite unnecessary to try and divide up the work on insulin among the various men who were involved in it. I would, however, like to emphasize that it was teamwork that did it. And it was on that basis that Dr. James Bertram Collip came into the work with us. Dr. Collip made a very important contribution, and his share was equal to that of the others. And that is why I telegraphed him from Quebec City, asking him to accept half of my share of the prize money.
Still can't believe you really are here. We were all afraid someone would come up and we'd send a cable instead.
J.J.R. MacLeod left the University of Toronto in 1928 and returned to Scotland as Regius Professor at the University of Aberdeen. He died at the age of 59 in 1935.
James Bertram Collip went on to do other research, becoming the leading figure in the history of endocrinology in Canada. In later years, he and Fred Banting became fast friends.
Charles Best married Margaret Mann and became a leading international figure in medical research. Over time, he and Banting grew apart. Charles Best died in 1978.
Everything is so different from the last time. I can go swimming, sailing. I planted all kinds of zinnias last week. Oh, I forgot the binoculars. I'll be right back. Elizabeth Hughes married and lived a full life. She died suddenly at the age of 74. In her lifetime, she received close to 44,000 injections of insulin.
Frederick Banting married in 1924 and had one son. Knighted in 1934, he re-enlisted at the outset of World War II. In 1940, while on his way to England, Captain Sir Frederick Banting was killed in an airplane crash in Newfoundland.